Hello everyone, my name is Steven Zapata, greatest living draftsman, and I've got a new course out, Design Fundamentals. It's meant to help you understand design on a comprehensive and principled level and show you how to run projects that build skills and contribute to a portfolio. Maybe you want to be a concept artist, an illustrator, a fine artist, or just the most badass hobbyist on your block. Whatever you want to do with art, if you ever want to do anything vaguely original, you need to understand design. You need a process and a mental framework for getting to something new rather than just copying what you've seen before or photos of stuff that already exists. If you do want to improve at design, that process, that mental framework, it does exist. It's based on the principles of design, and I've spent the past year, wait, is it more than a year? Oh my God, this took forever. I've spent the past whatever putting this course together, full of my insights into the elements of art and the principles of design. Across 10 assignments in this course, you will be concepting your own imagined video game. You'll come up with the overall idea, you'll pick a theme, you'll write a treatment, and you'll design assets that give you a chance to practice all these new concepts. And at the end, all of these individual assignments come together into a cohesive final image. When I designed this syllabus, I wanted to make the course I wish I had taken back in my first year of school. And I did. If I was asked to teach Design 1 at Art Center today, I would just play these videos as my lectures, and this is the same cohesive, practical, fun assignment I would make the students do all semester. Also, just like a college course, everyone gets my feedback on all 10 assignments. In the exclusive course community, you can post your work to get feedback from me and your peers, and there's even a video workroom that's always open so you can hang out together while you work. So if you're interested, go to zapatacourses.com/design fundamentals and check it out. And I will see you on the other side of the mystical gateway of design. Hello. All right, we are live on the internet. Hello to Kyo, Roundbrush, Cody Paints, Alvaro Silva, Paul Mitchell, Zane Artist, and Engine Kanure. My microphone was not pointing at me at all. You probably heard that. Emiliano says, I love this. I'm about to start a class and my two fave streamers just started their streams at the same time. For real, this is a nightmare. That is horrible. Is your other favorite streamer my VODs? Who's your other favorite streamer? For real, I need to know. I can hurt them. Frankly, yo, good day from Australia. Good day. Fripsite, hello. Fripsite says, hola, mi hermano. Hola. ¿Cómo estás? Let me, before I forget, let me honor some patrons. I think we got I missed it last one. So we might have a few people to shout out. So let's shout these people out. First, I got to go to the channel. Go into my own YouTube channel, go 2 streams back. See when that stream was. December 1st. Okay, so since December 1st, we want to thank Hend Selp, Mello, Varun Nair, Jiri, and Joseph for supporting the Patreon and thereby supporting this channel and really putting their belief and faith in everything that we do here. And what do? We draw goblin butts. That's true. That's true. And that's not a reference to the famous meme book. You've all seen it. The fake pulp paperback called Goblins with Huge Asses or something like that. That's a joke. I'm living that nightmare. That nightmare where for some reason when I just draw happily, peacefully, without a care in the world, no particular direction, just enjoying my time in my sketchbook, what comes out? Goblin butts. Goblin butts. I mean, if I'm lucky, troll butts. For the most part, goblin butts. And you know who's there to support that degeneracy? It's Henselt, Mello, Varun Nair, Jiri, and Joseph. Thank you so much for supporting the Patreon. I appreciate it. All right, we've got our holiday music going. That's how you know that it's happy HoliStreams. We're back in Steven at Night. Steven at Night. Whoa. This holiday music has lyrics? I really don't like that. Don't give me that. Let me resort. There we go. Now it's only instrumentals. I clicked on and the first thing I heard is goblin butts. Welcome to the show. That's just how we do things around here. Oh no. My little foam pads that I put on the back of my keyboard are falling off. Is that the classic Bridgman pose that you drew? Not intentionally. Are we gonna do a little more inking painting today? I'm not 100% sure.
pretty small here. I could use the 2, I bet, if I'm just gonna be in my sketchbook for a bit. But then if we go bigger, let's take out the 5. Ayub Azakman, hello. The other streamer that Emiliano loves is a drama streamer, Nicolas Diorio. He usually put his VODs in the background when drawing. Internet drama, many times you would believe it is over nothing. Yeah. Maybe I should become a drama streamer. Could it be possible that drama streaming would be more fun than drawing ghoulies and goblins? Wouldn't that be a shame? How do I want to frame my page right now? Because I don't plan on staying in any one place very long. Random internet user 2 says, man, caught you live. Glorious. Wait, let me use that as an opportunity to check my audio levels. Glorious. I do look like I'm peaking a little bit there for when I'm singing, so I'm just going to pull it back. Glorious. Glorious. That's a little better. You guys let me know if I'm too quiet or too loud, or you just in general need the glorious to be stronger. And my dog is A-okay. Honestly, she's a little bored. It's winter. I have a son now. This is the era of her discontent. Nobody throws the ball anymore. Things will get better in spring. Also split between 2 streamers, David Finch's Monday Night Draw. Shit. Dave Finch is live right now? I'm going to have to put that on the calendar. Do not stream at the same time as Dave Finch. I'm going to have to block out the Monday evenings. What paper are you using? This is my Moleskine sketchbook. Which has pretty goddamn nice paper in it, but I couldn't tell you any details about it really. Miliano says, but like for real, have you made a comic? I have not. I've been in the process of making one, and it is a heavy duty like no other. My art teacher calls it the ultimate workout because you have to do a lot. It is very hard. I've done various parts. I've started comics. Actually, I did have like a web comic when I was in high school, but that's not the same kind of lift. That was just like a 3-strip comic. It wasn't like a comic with continuity and things like that. And but yeah, my friend Joe and I did a lot of concept work and writing for one last year. And we actually wrote a complete script for the whole story as we had initially imagined it. We have a script. It's huge. It's like, it's in, you guys can't see it, but like, show you. Joe will like it if I show people his hard work. That's the script for the comic. That's all. There's words on every page. The comic does not exist. As you can see, we did not write the comic as if I was about to have a kid. So you live and you learn. So in spite of all of those efforts and all of the pre-production art and all of the design work and the brainstorming sessions, I must still answer, no, I have not made a comic. It's up there though. It's sitting right up there on my bookshelf. I mean, anyone who makes things knows how heartbreaking it is to work on something so much and then have to shelve it. Not make the damn thing. I make light of it, but it is, of course, heartbreaking. I remember Mayan culture and stuff like that. Yeah, that was part of the influences for the art. Yeah. You never talked about what the story is about, right? No. And if I was going to go back to the comic, you guys would never hear about it. You wouldn't hear about it until it was done. We're just in sketchbook heaven tonight, by the way. Just doodling all night. For however long we're on here. Safi Art says, your hair is very different. Used to grow more vertically. What's the sauce? There is no controlling this hair. It does whatever it wants. And it changes its tone every year. I don't put anything in it. I don't do anything to it. The only thing I'll put in it sometimes is for real, just body lotion, body moisturizer. That's the only quote unquote product I put in my hair. That's what I put in it for special occasions, like my wedding or something like that. Do you think it's easier to work on art when you have artists in your physical vicinity? Yeah, generally. Unless, unless you're surrounded by assholes or something. Though even that can work. Sometimes it's very beneficial to have a rivalry going. That can be quite useful. We all need our Gary Oak every now and then. What brand is it for gouache brush? The paint is Derwent Ink Tense, like ink mixed with intense. And the brush is a Winsor Newton Series 7. Finest sable. Don't get one. Don't get one. You shouldn't use one of these unless you've had proper safety training. You're just going to wind up shooting yourself in the foot. Savi says, used to look kind of funny, but now it's like an intended style, lol. My hair? Yeah, it's always going to look kind of funny. I have a rule. I have a self-imposed rule to never get persnickety about my appearance before going on stream. Because if I start with that, then I'll never stream. So I just let myself go on stream with my fucking hair, however, clothes, however. I don't like change or anything. I wear my junk shirts, my pajama shirts. It's like for me to keep streaming, it's got to be that way. So I stick to that rule. You start getting picky with your looks, wondering how you're coming off in public. It's like, well, now you're not going to sit there and make art. Now you're being an influencer, and you might as well just be hawking tea, you know? And it's worked. That rule has worked for me. I just kind of accept, yeah, I look stupid on stream all the time, and that I'm generally very comfortable just kind of going live whenever I have the time to do it. I just kind of jump right in. It's great. Miliano says, has it become harder to finish an idea as you progress in your craft because you know you can make it even better? Does the process actually get faster? It gets faster. You naturally get faster. Random Internet User says, are you planning on doing more streams in the next few weeks? Yes. I play your streams all the time, and my dog was listening to your dog. Nice. The dog streaming network is underground. Love it. Love it. Yeah, I do plan on doing more streams in the next few weeks. I also, I'm going to move me because I'm drawing down on the bottom left corner of the sketchbook. I'm going to try to, because my schedule is getting much more limited these days, I'm going to try to finally just lock in a day that stream is and just do it once a week, and that's the day. So I think now that I've got a kid and all that, I think it's finally time to put stream on a schedule. I don't see it being more than once a week. I think once a week is realistic. I think that can be done. So it'll probably be like, I don't know. Well, I guess I shouldn't say a day, but it'll be a weekday. It's very unlikely it would be a weekend. And stream will just be every one of those days at the same time. I think that's the only way to keep it going. Like, things are getting so crazy now that it's like, if I don't do that, and I'm just trying to squeeze it in at the times I think I'll have time, which I'm rapidly discovering it's never occurring at the times I think it is. I think it'll just never happen. I'll just never be streaming. So I think I'll just lock it down on a particular day. Is this a holiday song? It's safe to say it'll be one of the days of the week. I mean, a weekday. It won't be a weekend, I don't think. So it's the new year, folks. It's coming up. Time of change, of transition. So like, what's up? You guys are the hip young youths. You guys are like the up and coming novice artists with ambition and with dreams. What do you guys want to do? Like, I feel like the vibe is changing. I feel like people want to do different things with art now. Used to be people used to message me and stuff like that saying, I want to be a concept artist and things like that. And now I feel like I get that less and less. And I'm trying to figure out if that's because the market is changing, people's ambitions are changing, or if people are just less inclined to ask me about that. What do you all want to do now? Do you guys even care about working for companies anymore? Or do you guys all want to be Claire Obscure? Do you guys all want to be indie devs or something like that? Like, what's the current dream of artists? Does everybody just want to make the next game of the year after work? Is that everybody's plan? I want to make surreal explorations of the absurdity of humans. Right, but like how though? Like how though? Like, do you want to make a comic or what? Do you want to do that as a comic, a TV show, an animation, a soda bottle, a mechanic shop where people bring their car into you and they're like, oh, my carburetor. And then you're like, yes, but also, what about an absurd exploration of the absurdities of humanity? Wufo says, my biggest revelation this year was that I do not need to draw like how I study art. That is so true. That is so true. Animation is more popular, I think. Okay, that's an interesting possibility. Ayub Azakmam says, hello, Steve. Hope you're good. I'm recently thinking about making and selling prints as a test. What are the difficulties that people face when starting this business? I don't sell prints. I technically have like an imprint shop, but I don't really link to it anymore. Like I don't put it out there. It's just for like, it's literally just like a findable thing for the few people who just really want one of my drawings up on a wall. So take this with a grain of salt. This is just what I've gathered from my friends who do much more work with prints than I do. Again, I do basically none. I have very little experience with doing prints. But from what I've gathered from my friends, hearing their stories, it does sound like prints work best in person. So it's very difficult to sell a lot of them online, but in person, people like that. God bless you. God bless you. That is awesome. Leave you the plains? Yeah. All right. We'll have the sugared ones. They look good. I have one right now. Yeah. How was it? He was good? Yeah. He was good to his mom?
He was good to his mom.
He didn't cause any problems?
Nope. Alright, I'll leave it to it.
Nicely done.
Good.
Alright, we'll talk soon.
Bye.
Sorry, I got a Christmas cookie drop off. The hell was I saying? The hell was I saying? Prints. They work best in person. Few people seem to buy them just offline. It seems the main thing prints do, they're like in a sweet spot at conventions where people who want to meet you, this artist that they like, they don't want to go to your table and buy nothing. And a print is like in the sweet spot for price where like kind of everybody could afford that and they like the art. Maybe it seems most people don't even actually hang their prints. They just keep them in files and have a big collection of them. But they're also just like, all right, this is a thing I can afford to buy. Even if I'm not really in the market for a print, I just want to talk to this guy, you know? That seems to be where prints do best. Ghostly says, as a young artist, I want to create rat creatures in concept art with rat sewer things that make tea for other rat sewer things. I'm going to assume that's a nonsensical youthful joke and not just that is so steeped in neologisms and slang that I cannot grok a moment of that sentence. Kale says, as a hip young youth, I'm currently entering the abysmal non-art job market. I'm sending you blessings. I'm sending you blessings right now. The blessings were flying at me. Gang Gang says, just want to make tons of money? With art? We need to have a conversation. Miliana wants to be a graphic designer. Brabra says, I discovered Maligny's art for the, I'm going to assume that you meant sake of it. Now I have peace in my creative process. Bless you, sir. I'm very happy for you. That's what it's all about. Obi Stonk says, hard not to worry about the AI revolution on the horizon. Okay. See, that's honest. I like hearing that. Thanks for bringing that up. I wonder how shaky people are feeling about AI these days. Not sure. Sometimes talking to people, I get the impression that everyone's kind of just like over it. They're just like, it's not going to fuck up anything. Like, okay. '90s Terminator wants to make a comic and a TCG game. Engine Ure wants to make a game. Bendick says, AI did definitely make me reconsider what I want to focus on with my art, wanting to focus more on what's meaningful to me and not concept art, which was my goal before. Well, you know, it's always, I mean, I always found that whenever I needed to change directions or leave something behind, I always had to go through a grieving period. Maybe I'm still carrying grief for all of those change directions, but in the end, to be more focused on what's meaningful to you has to be a good thing. It feels like in the long run, that's got to be a good thing. Cody says, still want to work for companies, but lately I've been wondering if I manage that and prove to myself I can do it, my desire to might disappear soon after. That's possible, but I don't know. I think you got to be careful about, you know, while you're in that youthful, and people, whenever I say youthful, I don't actually mean young, like in years. I mean youthful in art years, and like how long you've been doing art or trying to, or how long you've been on whatever trajectory you're on in art. Like maybe you've been doing art forever, but you've only been interested in doing it as a job for like the past year or whatever, things like that. I think that when you're in a youthful phase and you're trying to hit a difficult goal, you gotta keep yourself psyched up. I do think there's something good about those nagging thoughts that we all have. We know life is complicated, and that, especially, you know, if you listen to this YouTube channel, I'm always talking about how incentives change and internalized incentives, externalized incentives, things like that. I think there is a good reason to kind of suppress that stuff a little. That's something that we do as human beings, right? There's some models of consciousness that are, that consciousness is actually a sort of suppression machine, you know, that the main thing that we do is repress consciousness of things, mortality, loss, nihilistic conclusions about the nature of the cosmos. It's like, you know, I have a family member who refuses to look up at the sky at night because the stars stir existential dread in her. When she told me that, I was like, it's like that is that Lovecraftian cosmic horror, something that I've thought about so much that I don't have it anymore. I was like, I would pay you so much if you could bottle that and give that back to me. I was like, I was jealous of her when she told me this. Okay, I'm getting off track. Her refusing to look up at the sky at night is that natural human function of suppressing. You can't really escape it. So a lot of it is maladaptive, surely, but there's got to be versions of it that could be adaptive. So I think one of those that might be adaptive is when you're on a wholesome trajectory, when you've got ambitions and you know that, you know, it would be good if you could pull this thing off, whatever happens afterwards, perfectly fine to squish down those nagging thoughts. Squish down those nagging thoughts. A lot of religious people hate space. It ruins their concept of reality. Yeah, she's not religious though. She's just like an abstracted cosmic horror. God, that's awesome. She told me that. I was like, that is the coolest thing ever. And she was like, I'm getting scared having this conversation. Can we change the subject? I was like, damn, that is so real. I kind of struggle with making art like pictures. There are a few things I want to express, but I don't know how, honestly. I mean, it's a common problem these days. A lot of people are stuck just studying and they don't. When it comes to the part of art that is self-expression, and that is most of it, they're trapped, you know? Isn't there a meme that's just like very common problem? Isn't there a meme that is just that very common problem these days, unfortunately? Something like that. I didn't mean it as a meme. I was genuine. It's one of the most common things I try to help my students with in like workshops and stuff like that. There's people with just great skill and a lot of fire, like a lot of ambition, but they don't know what they want to make, you know, and so they get stuck. Wufo says, Steven, tips on getting that first gig? I mean, you gotta have friends. You gotta have some friends. A lot of the commercial design industry is contact work, you know? You need some kind of network. Obviously, there's everything about good portfolio and solid skills. You know, I say the networking thing because it's just something that tends to be brought up less, but is absolutely true. Generally, to get into this industry, you need a few people who are going to go to bat for you. Is it fair to say artists are kind of surviving in the AI environment? Definitely had worse expectations. they're surviving. I'm seeing a lot of, I want to see how things shake out. I've seen a lot of people's jobs transform in ways they're not happy about. and I shouldn't say, me saying they're surviving shouldn't be misconstrued as nobody's suffering. A lot of people have lost work and jobs and things like that. I think they're still in a position to land on their feet, that's what I mean. And they have landed on their feet. It's not like they lost their jobs and then couldn't get another one, At least the cases I know. There's probably a survivorship bias there. As you get older, it's tough to have fun. That's true. Cody says, as I've developed more anxiety issues over the years, I notice while taking my dog out at night, looking up at endless nothing can trigger a mini anxiety attack. Thought it was just going insane. Nope, you're in good company. You're going insane with others. What do you think of Mark Spears? I do not know who that is. Maybe the AI bubble will pop and then the AI data centers won't be economically feasible anymore. We can dream. We can dream. Yuri with 170 NT. Thank you so much. Yuri says Stevenson 218 is a red supergiant 19,000 light years away, located in the Scutum Centaurus arm of the Milky Way galaxy. Just let that sink in. And then Yuri sends another 170 NT. Its size is only a bit wider than Saturn's orbit around the sun, but you can't find coffee there. So true. So true. You know, that really puts things in perspective, right? Across these yawning galactic scales, it's easy for us to feel insignificant, infinitesimal, like dust. But we have to remember that right here, on this earth, in this year of our Lord 2025, on this legendary and historic Steven Zapata art stream, it is still possible to obtain pure, uncut Colombian coffee. And you know what? You can drink as much of it as you want. No one can tell you no. You could drink it to your heart's content. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Juan Valdez approves this message. Zigzis Matthias says coffee makes me poop. Makes me poop. Ghost Text here says, I hear the digital minimalist trend among Gen Z could be one of a few signs of a demand for the genuinely human yet imperfect creation in the future. What is the digital minimalist trend? Does that just mean they're not using phones and stuff like that? Or is it like a particular online aesthetic? What is digital minimalism? Are they moving away from smartphones, profiles? Steven, are you Colombian? Yes. Both of my parents are from Colombia. I was born here, though. Bendik gives 599 NOK. N-O-K. Thank you so much, Bendik. Bendik says, need to go to bed, but hoping everyone has a great Christmas. Aw, that's very sweet. May everybody feel Bendik's Christmas blessings. Let's just take a moment to let it wash over us. Okay, nice. We all feel very blessed. Buy the child some extra premium Colombian coffee. Been having a really good time with the design course and looking forward to having some days off from work to start on the assignment. Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Thank you so much, Bendik. I appreciate it. Norwegian crowns. Is there a setting I can hit on YouTube to just translate people's or even I don't need it in US dollars. If I could just get, instead of the abbreviation for their currency, if I could get the currency name written out so I could just say the currency instead of saying random letters, that would be great. Because Norwegian crown sounds way cooler than NOK. Living without the internet is a fantasy for Gen Z? Oh, that makes sense, because it is a fantasy. They can't, right? And they've never experienced it. I feel very fortunate to have been of the last generation, or one of the last generations where, you know, even though most of my life has been with the internet, I do remember what it was like for it to not exist. I remember, you know, hearing about it, being like, huh, what's that? A simpler time. I was also a child, but still a simpler time. Do you know any professional artists that started late, like in their 40s? Yeah, it happens. I'm blanking on naming any off the top of my head, but I'm sure people in chat know them. Lots of people just, you know, start later in life. They had whole other careers and they decide they're going to go for art instead. Retrain. I just heard the other day from a friend about a professional comic book artist who's apparently doing very, very well, who before he was a comic book artist, he was a pro footballer. Some people are just built different, you know. Vivian Chi says, personally, I just want to level up artistically and get as good as I can before I perish. You know what? That sounds a lot like my goal. Yeah. I often just feel like I just want to spend as much time in communion with this great thing called drawing as I can. And the world will fight me on that. We'll try to make it so that I can't do it anymore over and over and over again. My job is doing whatever it takes to keep going. And that may look like other jobs, other activities from the outside, but it's all just one job. Keep drawing. Keep drawing at any cost. Happy holidays, Andrea. Keeg says, I just started drawing recently. Big fan of yourself and Alan Williams. Thanks for the amazing work. My pleasure, truly. Congratulations on starting your art journey. And Alan Williams is awesome. Whoops, the wrong way. Hi, Joey. Merry Christmas, Joseph. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, little Joey. You've been a very naughty boy. Naughty, naughty. You made it onto Santa's naughty list. All right. Tell me I'm a bad boy, says Joey. Yeah. Yep. Every year, every Christmas, my Christmas gift to Joe is that I hold him to my bosom and I sing him a low, soft, sexy version of Santa Baby. And he has to stay perfectly still until I'm completely done with the song. David says, hey, Steven, do you decide to do more of your project with murals of aliens? I am doing that one. Yeah. I have problems to solve with it, though. But yeah, I have not given up on that one. I am definitely doing that damn drawing. It's just the initial compositional solution that I thought was going to work. Once I actually saw it in a few sketches, it wasn't doing it for me. And it was useful, of course, because it revealed what I did need it to do, but I haven't been able to crack the nut yet on how to do that solution. I just need to turn my attention back to it, and something will strike me in the shower while driving at any point. Any minute now. I don't know what to do. I always keep the preparatory sketches on my windowsill. I always keep them on my windowsill right next to my drawing station to always remind me that that's on the burner. Roumber says, I feel like the demands of being a concept artist have drifted from what I originally wanted to do. It feels like studios want artists to do concept and production assets. I see what you're saying. I don't know about wanting them to do production assets. Maybe do some 3D concept sculpts that then get given to a character or environment artist, but does seem like a lot of them do that kind of 3D handoff thing now. But it depends on the project. It's always going to come down to the project. As a generalization, though, I get what you mean, because I don't know. Sometimes I feel like what I wanted to be was a concept artist for video games in the 90s and early 2000s, but I didn't become a concept artist until the 2010s instead. And there's just like there's a real technological difference there, you know? There was, in the early era of concept art, you know, no 3D model in a game could contain the amount of detail of even a cursory drawing or sketch. And now it's reversed, right? No drawing could really contain the amount of detail that a AAA production asset has. So it kind of feels like instead of, you know, there's sort of an ease and freedom to just knowing that you were inherently just kind of way out. You're sort of inherently inspirational to this other part of the technological pipeline that could never quite catch up with you. Now there's a different vibe of just like, you're always making allusions to things the other part of the pipeline, the 3D part, are going to surpass, you know? And that's just a different vibe. That's a different vibe. Nothing wrong with it. It's a job, and the job is what it is, but just saying for me personally, I feel like I got into it not really realizing that like that era had come and gone, that was sort of like a sweet spot, again, for me, not an actual objective sweet spot, like things were better back then. Like that sweet spot, that relationship between the art and the production assets had come and gone, you know? David says, that's nice to hear. The primitive boar is one of my favorite art of yours. That's great to hear. That's one of my favorites too, so it's always very nice and somewhat rare for someone else's favorite to be one of my favorites too. you know, when you're the artist, usually your favorites are like the weirdest stuff you've done. So yeah, that's very cool to hear. Thank you. Gabuda Ichimuda says, hey, I finally caught a stream. You're in here all the time. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, dog? I just wanted to do stuff like Craig Mullins, says Roundbrush. Yeah. I wonder how often Craig Mullins gets to do Craig Mullins these days. I'm sure Craig still gets to do it a lot, but you know, he's got momentum, a name, a brand, connections. I wonder how a new Craig Mullins would fare now. I really wonder. It's getting so stuffy in here. Ubuda says, Steven, I missed the last few because I was working too much. New manager, though, so I'll have a much better schedule. Nice. Now you get to join Night Steven. Ooh. Ah. Ooh. Night Steven. Jacob Molina says, how much external stimuli, music, movies, while making art is too much? Asking for a friend. I mean, it really does just come down to, is it distracting you that session? We all know what it feels like to have like a good YouTube video or a movie going in the background, and it just feels like it's helping you dial in, actually. And that's fine. You know, I don't see any problem with that. The trick is when you're going back to that stuff as sort of a compulsion, as a habit, and you're doing it to drown out your own thoughts. You're just running away from your internal anxieties, and it's distracting you. And you know when it's distracting you. So here, when it's distracting you, if you are using the media to drown out your internal thoughts, that is a more urgent situation than the art. And so you will not turn it off to keep yourself distracted, to keep the thoughts from coming. And then that's what you really need to avoid. That's the problem. So it's like a catch-22. It's like you can listen to media while you're working as much as you want, as long as you're willing to turn it off, you know? Like once you're not willing to turn it off, once you can't sit there in silence, you're in trouble. This stream is not too much? No, never. It couldn't be. Too real. Safi says every day's a struggle. Yes, it is. I know, guys, I know. Art is hard. It is hard to do all this. It's a long marathon. A very difficult lifelong vocation. I've been having a hard time with it too lately. I have. Trying to switch to nights has been a real struggle. But you just remember there's another race tomorrow. And the day after that, and the day after that, and the day after that. Just keep going. Keep going until one day you cross the finish line and you don't even know how you got there. Or on the day that you finally just give up and walk through the streamers and quit the race, you won't even be bothered by it. You'll just say, fuck it, today's the day. No problem, Jacob. Thanks for asking it. 'Twas a good question. Holy Christ, the sketch only took 14 minutes so far, so fast. Yeah, for stuff like this, I don't know what to call it, like, this is what my thoughts look like. That's the best I can do to try to explain what the hell these drawings are. The most natural, most personal thing that comes out of me. Yeah, they fly out. The initial lay-in is very quick. Just for this, there's no friction, you know, it's just... It's a fully internalized exploration. When you're not worried about anything going wrong, it all goes very quickly, actually. Caviar is not significant says, I always heard that you should create more than you consume. I mean, that'll be the right thing for some people, but not for everybody. I'm sure there's a lot of very good artists out there whose consumption diet for media is awe-inspiring. and they still have great careers and make great work. I feel like a lot of people who draw anime must be watching a ton of anime, and I've heard how long One Piece is, so my assumption is that they haven't even drawn as long as it takes to watch all of One Piece. Crazy says, hey, Steven, I just want to say your videos help me enjoy drawing in a way I haven't been able to in many years. Many blessings to you, Crazy. I'm very happy to hear that. That's probably what I was put on this earth to do. That's probably more important than the other stuff I've done with drawing, like my jobs and my personal career and all that. It's like, all that is so contingent, you know, but helping other people enjoy the art practice in a different way, that's like very real, you know. It's like something that is truly manifesting in another person's sphere of experience. It's not something happening in a brand or to a company or something like that. It's just very, very real to me. Safi says, give up, see Steven streaming, get back to it, right back to it. Right back to it. Cody says, Steven, when meditating while drawing or attempting to, just sort of letting my thoughts go where they will, I notice I often end up down a nihilistic path. Is there a way to prevent that? What is that? It's not about the drawing. It's, you know, what is that? It's that you are grappling with those questions. And it's emerging when you draw. All right, so hold on. I'm dropping frames. I'm losing connection. My bit rate's high. All right, seems like we're back. Sorry for the hiccup. Sometimes when people have that, they think it's about the art, and that's not good, because then they start becoming afraid of the art practice because they think, all right, the art is making these negative, nihilistic, intrusive thoughts come up. The art is not doing that. The thing is that for most people who draw, drawing is the only place where they're going to meditate. You know, it's going to force you to, basically. Again, if you're not drowning it out with movies and podcasts and things like that. The drawing practice inherently gives you flow, gives you concentration, and then that's where the things that are going on deep inside arise, right? So that's a struggle for a lot of people. But rest assured, it's not about the art. If you meditated for 20 minutes in the day before you sat down to draw, those thoughts would come up there instead. Right now, you may have more than 20 minutes worth of nihilistic thoughts, and then there's going to be some bleed through, but they're basically going to come out. It's just a natural human function. If you're grappling with these things, they're going to come out wherever they can. So it's going to be while you're drawing, while you're meditating, or like so many people, as you're trying to fall asleep at night. So as to a cure for nihilistic thoughts, there's no easy one. You know, I can't cure that for you. But rest assured, it's not about the art. You know, the art is just it's catching strays. You know, it's being accused of being linked to these nihilistic thoughts. It's like, no, it's just this is the only time that you sit peacefully in a sometimes silent space or near silent space and do something that allows the mind to wander, you know. And let's see, if I could give advice on nihilistic thoughts, what would I say? Okay, so I think this is probably a pretty unpopular take on nihilistic thoughts in the current era, because I feel like, you know, we're programmed by culture to think that nihilistic thoughts are like, you're not, I don't know, you're not taking your daily supplement of jacked influencers running 40 miles and saying, don't be a bitch. It's like, it seems that's what our culture has reduced that problem to. It's just like, you're not watching enough of those TikToks. If you would, you wouldn't be nihilistic. You would know that you just need to get your shit together and be a real man or whatever. You may be surprised to hear that I don't agree with that. The advice I would give about nihilistic thoughts is explore them. Just explore them. Don't be afraid of them. You know, the fear only feeds them, only makes them more anxious, sharper, more painful. Explore them. See what's there. They're there for a reason. You know, they're not there for no reason. See what's in there. Is there a deep discomfort with my stream is dumping out again, sorry. I don't know why. My internet's usually pretty rock solid here. I don't know why it's being bad. You know, they're there for a reason. Explore what is making them come up. Obviously, there's a difference between just nihilistic thoughts in general, you know, wondering, is there meaning to life? How do we instill meaning? Things like that. There's a difference between that and the realm of traumatized thoughts, right? The, you know, personal issues that you've gone through, past traumas, things that have left scars on you. I'm not talking about that. I can't in good conscience just tell people to go explore their trauma thoughts. No, I think that you should do that with a professional to guide you, to keep you safe while you do that, because it is very possible to harm yourself by just being willy-nilly with your trauma thoughts. But those aside, explore the lean into darkness, right? Explore why you're canting in that direction. Where is it coming from? Don't be afraid of it and see what it can teach you. You know, there's some implication that like nihilistic or negative or pessimistic thoughts are like stupid. It's like, I don't think they're stupid. I think they actually indicate a degree of sensitivity and intelligence in most people who have them. Don't feel bad about them. And if you did want to do it more proactively, like meditation is one of the best tools that I found for exploring negative thought, nihilistic thought, because it greatly calms the body down. So it reduces the physiological nervous explosion that can come with those thoughts. It soothes the body, turns it into a placid lake, and then from that solid place of peace, you can then summon up one of your nihilistic thoughts and actually inspect it from a more neutral position. And that's very useful. That's incredibly useful. Audio is fine. Kyo and Joe have the opposite. Kyo says just the video, audio is fine. And then Joe says audio is fine, video's messed up. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, it keeps going. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna check one thing. Nope. Yeah, I don't know what's doing it. I don't know. I'll give it a couple minutes, and if it doesn't get better, I'll probably take it as a sign to get off. We've been going for not long, hour and a half, but that's all right. It's a casual HoliStream. We don't need to slave over things. But yeah, I don't like streaming through tech problems. I just find it, I can talk while I work, but worrying that the stream is not working, I've always found I can't draw while I do that. I get really sucked into tech problems. I can't take it easy while they're happening, so I'm not gonna sit here and pretend if stream's health is no good. I'll just get off and we'll try again tomorrow. Cody says, I feel like I just on a fundamental level do not jive with reality as it is. Maybe I'm too far down the negativity rabbit hole. I like the way you put it. I just don't jive with reality as it is. Hey, that's all right. In the long run, that's probably going to be part of what makes you a good artist, you know? That means you're always going to be looking for ways to change that reality, present alternate realities. And that's what our pieces really are, you know? It can be good in the long run. David says, I think drawing hands is my biggest enemy. It almost looks unnatural. I have to constantly imagine fingers as parallelepipeds. What is that? Parallelepipeds. Parallelepipeds. Do you have any advice? Hands are as hard as people say they are, I guess. Here's the best advice I could give. There's no shortcuts, right? There's all sorts of little tips and shapes that people want you to integrate. And the most common tip, learn your anatomy, is the best tip. But there's nothing fast about that, right? It takes a long time to learn the anatomy and to understand the shapes of the bones and the tendons and things like that. But the main thing I want to say is that it does get better. You do eventually hit a point where you get it and it's not torture anymore. You know, for me now, hands are one of my favorite things to draw, and not just sketch, but to sketch and render. You know, I find them super fun. So, you know, that wasn't always the case. Like everybody, I had a lot of reticence and fear around hands early on, but yes, the situation can change. So I would just say, look forward to that and try to get there as fast as you can. Because now there's little I love more than distorting and twisting and transforming and redesigning a hand. It's like such a pleasure. And it doesn't feel hard, you know, it feels easy now, you know. Pixel Art says, do you know the muscles like first dorsal interosseous, abductor pollicis, etc., etc.? Yes. I mean, you know, obviously as time goes on, of the hand, I mean, or more like the groups like hypothenar, eminence. There's some where you only need the groups like that, and others, you know, the individual muscles. Though mostly the hand, the most important part of the hand structure is fat pads and the bone shapes. You know, that's really the most important part. For the whole body, like, the names are only useful insofar as they help you remember there's a muscle there, right? That's where the names are useful. Beyond that, some of the names have built-in tips as to like where the muscle starts and where it goes, things like that. But the real where the rubber meets the road is actual like close study of the shapes. Now, muscles have very fluid shapes, but close study of the shapes of the bones really rewards a lot. And that's extra obvious on the hand, you know. The shapes of the knuckles, the way that the tendons slot into them. All those little carpal bones. Their interfaces and interactions with the tarsal bones. Pixar says, okay, last question. Do you know all 8 carpal bones by name, just out of curiosity? No. That I don't know. Not anymore. I'm sure I did know it in back in college when I was doing my very formal anatomy training. But now, no, I can't name them. Too many years have gone by. All those little sesamoid bones and things like that, it's like, it's the groupings of them that matter. You know, back then I could name, back then in my salad days, I could name every bone in the human body. Yes, including all of the little fuck bones in the wrist and in the foot as well. And I could name every single surface muscle. I was confident about that. And I had my anatomy teacher, Ray, confirm it, you know. Probably there's, you know, some surgeon or something like that. Probably on like a medical level, a surgeon would know someone that I was missing, you know. But back then, just without a doubt, every single surface muscle I could name and locate. And maybe not everyone, but certainly the ones important to artists, I knew like all the origins and insertions and things like that. Well, when it comes to the origins and insertions, now with more knowledge, I know that what I thought I knew was actually like a surface level. Now with more knowledge, I know I didn't know all the origins and insertions, because it turns out a lot of the muscles have multiple origins and multiple insertions. And when you're first studying anatomy, you sort of get a generalized answer to that. But, you know, a lot of muscles, they're where they depart from and where they end, it's actually like a big splay, and they actually can touch multiple bones and things like that. 825 says, recently I've had this fear of losing my passion for making art. Do you know how to prevent this? And in your opinion, what are some of the biggest things that can kill the passions for creating? Too much studying. That's the thing that's killing it for everybody in this era. Too much studying. Focus on your creativity. You have to know what your fucking art is. You have to know what it is. You can't just do what other people say is going to make you a better artist. The studies, you know. You can't just draw cubes and skeletons and stuff like that. You can't do that. That is definitely going to kill your creativity. You need to know what your art is, and you need to get excited about your art. And research it and do rituals to summon it and talk to people about it and, you know, speak to angels and fight with devils and do whatever, right? Like do whatever weird fucking thing. Like art is the weird thing that the normies think it is. And you can't skip that part. You can't skip that part. It is the muse and inspiration and demons possessing you and magic from the past and messages from the future and things like that. That is what art is. It is that. So you have to open your heart to that and figure out how to do that part too. And have your own weird processes and, you know, you're in a dark room with your eyes shut, you know, reading newspapers with your hands, you know, looking for unconscious messages from the zeitgeist and things like that. Like all that stuff. You need to be doing that stuff. You need to be doing that stuff. Oh. Shady on fire. Oh my God, my shoulder is fucked. It's not going to last 10 more years, guys. It is not going to last 10 more years. Shady on fire says, Steven, bro, I'm in tears again. Good timing to catch your stream. Welcome, Shady. Does this guy need a... I mean, it's possible. Definitely a possibility. Hold on, I gotta send someone something. Look, this is important, all right? It's baby stuff. Disconnection says, I feel like a slave to the algorithms. I have art projects that I want to do, but I never get around to them. Free will sometimes feel absent. I might be cooked. Well, there is no free will, but that's not why you're cooked. The algorithms are fucking with you, with all of us. We gotta get rid of them. We need to get rid of them. Ralph says, how many Atelier academics are conspiring against you, Stephen? Probably all of them. But just to be honest, probably every single one. They resent their students that are coming in. All the new students that come into the ateliers. The teachers are like, so what do you want to do? And they're like, I want to draw like Steve the Pet. I want to draw like Steve the Pet. They're like, ugh. They're so sick of it. Ugh. Not another one. Again with the Steve Zapata shit. Fellow members of the duly elected board of officially badass academic artists, certified, it's true, we are objectively good artists. What are we going to do about this plague spreading through taste called Steven Zapata? What is the best scanner for scanning your art? I don't know. Mine is really old. I think all scanners are basically the same. There's probably no best scanner. I may be wrong about that. I don't know. I don't think scanner technology has moved on much since the 90s. Definitely a flatbed scanner. Not one of those, you know, webcams on a rod that they call a scanner these days. I don't think that's a good idea. The library, yeah, your local library probably has a scanner that you can use. I use a like 13-year-old Epson Perfection V500 photo. I'm not sure you can get it anymore. It's an old scanner. It's seen better days, but the way scanners work, it like doesn't really. It kind of doesn't matter if the scanner is fucked up. Or, you know, my scan bed is like dirty, has permanent like blotchiness on it from like some cleaning materials that I accidentally used on it and stuff like that. But it's like, because a scanner like is just taking a very thin picture with the wand, and then it's stitching together all of the little moments of the wand moving. And because that's just like a flat, direct light hitting the document or the drawing just front on, all of those things disappear when the scanner actually produces the image, because it all just gets flattened, you know, and it's only ever taking a slice of pixels at a time. So yeah, just, you know, none of the imperfections or blemishes actually show up in any of the scans. You know, the scan that you get is sort of this artificial creation. You know, it's not like it's taking a picture of the whole thing, you know. Of course, if there was damage to the motors or to the wand itself, that would mess up the scans. Thank you, Cicada Ghost. Season's greetings to you as well. Jacob Milano says, any advice for someone who wants to make a living at drawing shit? Is currently stuck at a job they're not crazy about? You're gonna have to work your ass off. It's hard to make a living drawing shit. So get ready to work your ass off, you know. If you have a more specific question, let me know. But as a generalization, you know, it's gonna be harder than the job you're stuck at right now. I could promise you that. It is fun, but if you specifically want to make a living at it, it's a tough road to hoe. Woofo says, Steven, I used to draw, let's say, a hand like you, and while doing so, trying to recall all the information I had on hands, like bones and muscles, and trying to rotate it all in my head and draw. No wonder I had burnout with drawing and could only do exercises. Yeah, you can't do that. All that stuff is meant to inform you for a while, and then it needs to slip into the unconscious, and then you always need to return to just drawing naturally, just going crazy, just wiggly lines, throwing shapes, being energetic, drawing like you were a kid. You always need to go back to that. You need to go back to how you naturally draw without anybody else's ideas, anybody else's teachings, anybody else's formations, anybody else's systems, none of that shit in your head. None of that shit in your head. All the stuff you learned will come through naturally, but you always need to return to you. That's always priority number one. And that includes all that technical knowledge about anatomy. Yeah, you're gonna blow your bandwidth if you try to remember everything that you learned in books, you know. Book learning and drawing are different things. Different things. And the name of a muscle is not the shape of a muscle. Well, some of them literally are. The names literally are the shapes, like the trapezius, the deltoid. But okay, I might have been totally in the wrong on that one. But it's not all the muscles. Not all of the muscles' names are literally their shapes. A25 says, got cut off for a bit, but I'm guilty of overstudying. I end up thinking I need to perfect as many skills as possible in order to be good enough to draw what I want. So I end up not drawing enough of what I want to. So I really needed this advice. Yeah, it's like in the end, that feeling of I need to perfect all these skills before I can draw the stuff I want to, that's actually the cop-out. You're telling yourself this dramatic story about the master artist that you need to become before you can do the work that you're going to put out in the world. Deep down inside, you know you're never going to do all that shit. And so it's just a cop-out to keep you from doing the scary thing, which is your own creative work, right? Because it's much easier to push your own creative work 5, 10, 15 years into the future than it is to own up that, oh shit, maybe I'll be publishing it this year and having it be open to criticism, ridicule, and also success, the fear of success as well. It's like a lot of people, that's what they're really running from, you know? It's way easier to tell yourself a crazy, you know, I have to be Kim Jong-gi story and pretend for a year that you're actually going to do all that crap when you know you won't. And then you just get to, you know, burn out, get depressed, not draw for a year. And then in year 3, you get to start all over again with the same mistake, right? So it's a vicious cycle. It's a vicious cycle. You need to just draw your pictures. You need to do the dream pictures, you know? Zix Mathea says, hey, Steven, to me, doing my own creative work is very, very easy, while committing to improvement is the hard part. You've got the better problem. There is a genuine asymmetry to these problems. Being afraid of your creative work and obsessing over improving is a worse problem than the one that you are talking about, Matthias. There is a genuine asymmetry there. You've got the better problem. Your problem is fucking easy to fix. Your problem's easy to fix. You're having so much fun doing your creative work that you struggle to be bored for 2 hours a week to do figure drawings or draw photos of hands or whatever. That is the way better, easier problem to have than being even like unconsciously terrified of actually interfacing with your own creativity and thinking that you're going to cube your way to greatness. It's like that is such a difficult misconception to deprogram, and it's a comfort zone, and it just is a greasy slide that you'll do for 5 years, and you never make anything, you never put anything in your portfolio, you never have anything to share. It's like that is absolutely the worst problem to have. Absolutely. Kyo hates hauling his 14x17 drawings to the library, only for them to not fully fit. Oh, and then you need to take multiple scans and stitch them together at home with no photo merge tool because I don't have Photoshop. Oh man, I'd never thought of that. In all of my fantasies of finally dumping Adobe, I never thought about, damn, would there be no photo merge? There's gotta be a free online photo merge tool, right? Somebody knows about it. Just tell me there is one. Somebody out there who's used one before, let me know that there's a free online photo merge tool. Oh my God. Don't tell me that. There's got to be something I can download. Don't tell me Photoshop's the only app that has a photo merge tool. And you got to admit it's good. I mean, you can put files of any size in that photo merge and it'll take forever, but there's no limits. You know, you can feed it 0.5 gigabyte TIFFs and it'll photo merge them. Pixel Art JJ says, so can you improve while having fun? The fact that question is still askable in the year of our Lord, 2025, is the reason this channel not only exists, but the reason that I can't just leave the archive up and be content that my message is out there. It's the reason that I have to still do streams regularly to answer these questions. Of course you can improve while having fun. And the fact that there was a atmosphere of misinformation or bad assumptions such that someone like Pixel Art JJ can even ask that question was the reason that I made this channel. Oh, our culture is truly, this is a benighted age, a benighted age. Thank you, Lund, too. Jacobo Milano says, the things I want to make a living out of is illustrations, key art covers, and comics interiors. Yeah, you're going to have to work your ass off. None of that stuff is easy stuff to make a living off of. Any advice? I mean, you're going to have to go on a real arc, you know, a real epic journey. You're going to have your own art odyssey on your hands. It can be a lot of fun, as we've been saying. It should be fun the whole time, but you got to expect you're going to be doing a lot of drawing. You're going to be doing a lot of drawing if those are your goals. And you got to kind of angle yourself. You're going to have to like put yourself in those markets and things like that. Like it's a lot. The main advice I would give is hopefully obvious from a lot of what I've said on here while answering other people's questions. But if that's your goal, always be doing key art covers and interiors. You're going to have to do a lot of drawing. You're going to have to do some studying and practicing, but don't let there be a period in your practice where you only study. Study, but also always be doing illustrations and comics. If that's really what you want to do, if that's how you want to make your living. If you don't do that, it's going to take way too long. Because what you're going to do is that you're going to just study in ignorance because you don't actually do key art and covers and interiors. So you're not going to actually have any way to vet how your studies are going and which of them is relevant. You're just going to turn the studies into a self-gratification system that makes you feel like you worked hard today. And then after about 5 years, you're going to be like, this should be fucking working by now, right? And then you're going to try to do an illustration and you're going to bomb out because you never practiced it. And you're going to then have an existential crisis. You're going to be like, shit, I wasted 5 years. It didn't make me better. You won't draw for a year to 2 years. Now you're 7 years in. And then if you're lucky, 7 years in, you'll start doing key art covers and interiors. And then it'll take about 4 years with your previously built skills to get good enough at those to start getting work. So now you're at like an 11-year arc, and that's usually what it takes for people to have suffered enough and be level-headed enough to really regularly be making a real living out of pro work. You could cut that time by a lot if you never gave up on the key art covers and interiors, if you did them the whole time. The thing that fucks people up and makes it take forever is that initial period of only studying. That's what fucks people up. London 2 says, hope the stream has been nice. It has been. Uvo says, Steven, do you have any video about feeling shame to do personal art or that touches the subject? I think a lot of the early YouTube videos touch on that. If you sort by oldest, you'll find stuff like that. Pixar says real, too real. I'm at the break point of the suffering arc. The time scale is so accurate it hurts. Basically me. Yeah, I mean, everybody thinks that everybody feels like they're going through their own personal art tragedy and that no one has ever fucked up this bad and things like that. And it isn't personal. The time, I mean, I know those timelines because I've been through it and I've had so many friends who've been through it and I've watched students do it and gotten reports. It's just like, it's reliably predictable, laughably predictable, because it's not a personal tragedy. It is the rational consequence of the study trap. So that's why, you know, you're all reacting the way you are, and that you do see those general shapes and not that general shape of suffering and those general timescales repeat over and over and over again in people's lives because they all get trapped by that same thing and it does the same thing to them. Earth says, do you suggest people use AI if they want to make good money in an art career? No, I don't. Messages like that are a reminder that, oh, YouTube does recommend these streams to non-subscribers. Thanks, YouTube. I appreciate the opportunity to reach new audiences. Cody Payne says, for the most part, I've just studied partitions of an illustration I'm doing that I don't know how to do, like targeted, fix the problem, move on kind of thing. I don't know if that's not reliable to learn though. It is. You gotta trust it, Cody. You gotta trust yourself. You know you're getting better. You know your work is good. There's never any promises for time scale, of course. Everybody improves at different rates, but it's clear what you're doing makes you improve. The great danger, my dears, is not making the pictures. That is the great danger. You think there are other things that are the great danger. Not being perceived as working hard, you think is a great danger. Doing things suboptimally, you think is a great danger. Not learning the right way, you think is a great danger. Those things are meaningless. Those things are fucking meaningless. There is no right way. There's a way that makes you make your goddamn pictures, and the ways that make you don't make your goddamn pictures. Which sounds better to you? Roach 6977 says, hi, Stephen. Whoa, I finally got one of your streams. Welcome. Welcome. Cody says, I'm letting myself relax for the first time in I don't know how long. Fuck it. I turned on a video game. Say something. Say something. Steven Earth 355 says Steven is suggesting not to study to reduce his competition. If I wanted to reduce competition, I would just say that drawing isn't fun. That would be enough. Every time you remind people that drawing is fun, there's no stopping them from wanting to do it for the rest of their life, wanting to do it as work, as their eternal hobby, whatever. And they'll get better. As long as I'm reminding people that drawing is the best, which it is, you know that I'm bringing more beautiful, competitive art into the world. All right, everybody. I did my doodles. I'm getting summoned here. I gotta go help with something. So I'm going to sign off. We did about 2.5 hours. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. For another ho-ho happy HoliStream. I will see you all very soon. If I don't see you before the holidays, happy holidays. I'm sure I'll see you before the new year, but if I don't, happy new year. Goodbye to Yuri Huang. Goodbye to Ayub Azakman. Goodbye to Glimmer 8965. Goodbye to Gravy the Cloth. Goodbye to Earth 355. Chapinster. Uesi. 90s Terminator. Goodbye to Robot Tomato. Goodbye to my sweet, sweet Joey Mars. Ooh. Sugenshio. With the 20R right at the last second. Thank you so much. An offering to the coffee gods. Thank you. I really appreciate it. We will propitiate the coffee gods with this great donation from Sungen Shio. Thank you. Thank you so much. You know it's going right to the boy. Piping hot black coffee right in his bottle. Goodbye to Daryl Grant. Goodbye to Damien Barrage Mateo. Goodbye to Mega Man 7357. Goodbye to Gabuda Ichabuda. Jozu John. Roach. Crazy 2720. Nemogotist. Julian Carswell. Goodbye. Good night, everybody. Thanks for hanging out and watching me draw. If you're still drawing tonight, happy drawing, and I will see you all soon. Happy holidays.